On a crisp September afternoon, Windsor Castle once again became the stage for a rare and symbolic moment in Anglo-American relations. Inside the historic grounds, a ceremony unfolded that dates back centuries, yet today carried the weight of modern politics, controversy and diplomacy. This was the beating retreat, a military tradition originally intended to mark the end of the day, the closing of gates and the lowering of flags. But in this context, it became something larger, a moment where history, spectacle and political tension collided. The gathering was no ordinary occasion. King Charles III, accompanied by Queen Camilla, received the President of the United States, Donald Trump, who had returned for an unprecedented second state visit. Their meeting, steeped in pageantry, unfolded against the backdrop of global crises, fierce debates about royal neutrality, and an uneasy British public watching from outside closed gates. The decision to host Trump again was hailed by supporters as a reaffirmation of Anglo-American friendship, yet condemned by critics as a breach of the monarchy's impartial standing. As the two men descended the grand stone staircase, the symbolism was inescapable. Britain's monarch and America's president walked side by side, a gesture meant to project unity, but one layered with deeper meaning. For Charles, it was about representing the stability of the crown, even amid political storms. For Trump, it was an opportunity to display his influence on the world stage, a reminder that his presence still commands attention and divides opinion in equal measure. The beating retreat ceremony soon began in Windsor's courtyard. Military bands performed with precision, the rhythmic sound of drums echoing through the ancient walls as soldiers carried out maneuvers perfected over generations. What once served as a signal to close the gates of camp at sundown had transformed into a pageant of discipline, loyalty and heritage. For Trump and the assembled dignitaries, it was a spectacle of military tradition. For the watching world, it was a carefully staged display of power and partnership. Among the observers was Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer. His presence underscored the political importance of the day, bridging the monarchy's ceremonial role and the government's active diplomacy. For Starmer, who must navigate the UK's post-Brexit position and balance relations with Washington, the optics of this visit mattered deeply. Hosting a president as polarising as Trump was not without risk, yet ignoring the global weight of the United States was never an option. King Charles and Queen Camilla stood alongside their guest, maintaining the calm dignity expected of Britain's royal household. Yet behind the composure lay a question that reverberated through the kingdom. Could the monarchy truly remain neutral while extending such honours to a figure who sparks such fierce debate? Charles, only a short time into his reign, found himself tested not just as king, but as custodian of an institution meant to rise above politics. The skies then provided their own drama. Britain's famed red arrows roared above Windsor Castle, leaving trails of red, white and blue across the sky. The flypast was both a spectacle and a statement, a reminder of Britain's enduring military traditions and its bond with America as a key ally. For many, it was the high point of the day, a dazzling moment that briefly lifted the occasion above its controversies. Yet even the roar of jet engines could not drown out the debates beyond the castle walls. This visit was unlike Trump's previous ones in one crucial respect. It was conducted almost entirely behind closed doors. There were no processions through London streets, no direct encounters with the public, no large-scale events to showcase pomp to the masses. Instead, security was tight, access limited, and the ceremonies carefully choreographed away from protest. Critics argued that this was an acknowledgement of just how divisive Trump remains, while supporters countered that it was a practical step in a volatile global climate. Beyond the immediate optics, the ceremony carried historical resonance. The beating retreat itself has roots in the 16th century, when soldiers used drum beats to signal the close of camp. Over the centuries, it became not just a practical measure, but a ceremonial one, performed in times of peace to honour tradition and in times of conflict to mark resilience. To stage it today in honour of an American president highlighted how deeply entwined Britain's military pageantry has become with its diplomacy. The broader relationship between Britain and the United States has long been defined by such symbolic moments. From the wartime partnership of Churchill and Roosevelt, to the ideological alliance of Reagan and Thatcher, to the challenges of the modern era, the special relationship has endured through triumphs and strains. Trump's visits to Britain fall into this historical arc, moments that reveal as much about Britain's domestic divisions as about the alliance itself. During his first state visit, Trump was met with widespread protest in London, including the infamous blimp caricature that floated over the city. That visit sparked debate about whether Britain should host him at all, and whether the monarchy should grant him the same honours given to other world leaders. The decision to invite him again, making him the first US president to be received for a second state visit at Windsor, reignited those same questions, though this time in a more controlled, carefully managed environment. For King Charles, the challenge lay in maintaining the monarchy's apolitical stance. Unlike his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, who had perfected the art of neutrality over decades, Charles is still defining his reign. Hosting Trump risks being seen as taking sides, particularly at a time when global politics is sharply polarized. Yet, declining to host him could have been read as a diplomatic slight, undermining Britain's role as a global player. This tension lies at the heart of modern monarchy, balancing tradition with contemporary political realities. Meanwhile, outside the castle walls, public reaction was sharp. Protesters gathered in towns and cities, decrying the visit and accusing the monarchy of abandoning its impartiality. Supporters, on the other hand, celebrated it as a reaffirmation of Anglo-American unity at a time of geopolitical uncertainty. The divide reflected not only opinions about Trump himself, but also broader debates about Britain's identity in the post-Brexit world, its alliances and its values. The extraordinary security operation surrounding the event highlighted just how sensitive it was. Roads were sealed, access was restricted, and Windsor effectively placed on lockdown. For the royal household, the priority was to avoid disruption and ensure the ceremony projected dignity. Yet the very act of limiting public access added to the sense that this was an event as controversial as it was historic. As the ceremony neared its conclusion, the symbolism sharpened. Trump stood alongside King Charles and Queen Camilla, framed by Windsor's ancient walls and Britain's military precision. For the cameras, it was a powerful tableau, one that seemed to say the bond between the United States and the United Kingdom remains strong. Yet for critics, the image also raised uncomfortable questions about the monarchy's role, its impartiality, and its willingness to embrace figures who divide as much as they unite. Ultimately, the beating retreat signalled more than the close of a day's ceremony. It symbolised the delicate dance of diplomacy in an age of division. For Trump, the visit was a chance to showcase his global stature, reinforcing his long-standing boast of friendship with the royal family. For King Charles, it was a test of his reign's balancing act, upholding tradition, strengthening alliances, and shielding the monarchy from charges of partisanship. The ceremony at Windsor may one day be remembered less for its pageantry than for what it revealed. A monarchy navigating treacherous political waters, a Britain redefining its global role, and an American president who continues to provoke strong reactions wherever he goes. In Windsor's courtyards, history and controversy intertwined once again, leaving the world to interpret the meaning behind the spectacle. As the final notes of the military bands echoed across the castle grounds, the day closed in symbolism as much as in ritual. The beating retreat was, as always, a marker of endings. But here, it also marked a continuation of debates about neutrality, of questions about Britain's place in the world, and of the enduring yet complicated bond with the United States. For some, the images projected a reassuring sense of continuity, the crown, the military, and the alliance standing firm. For others, they underscored the costs of tradition when it collides with politics. In the end, Windsor Castle bore witness to more than a ceremony. It bore witness to the reality that even in the most carefully choreographed rituals, history cannot escape controversy, and neutrality itself can become a battlefield.